Let's try this one more time. I think this is a good angle. Let's see. I feel like it's really close. Like, we've never really been this close on my channel. Hopefully this is it so that we can get started.
I still got some love deep inside of me, no need to lie to me.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I am super excited that you've clicked on this video today because we are about to get personal. Make sure you watch to the end, drop a little subscribe for me, and we're just gonna jump right into it today because I have plenty of questions from you guys here on my laptop. So if I'm looking over, that's why. A couple of weeks ago, I asked any of you that follow me on Instagram on my story to ask your burning questions about college, track and field, mental health, relationships, anything related to all of that stuff. And you guys came through. You asked me some questions and now I'm gonna answer them. So I think it only makes sense to start with this one because I got it twice. What songs do I listen to before meet day? So I actually have like an entire playlist that I listen to, and I have a pre-meet playlist as well as a meet day playlist. Pre-meet is like the getting ready vibes while you're doing your hair and your makeup. You're in the hotel room with your girls and you guys are just jamming out, getting ready. Like, that's a whole vibe in itself. And then you have like the focus, like you're on the bus headed to the meet and you know, you need to lock in, you need to really just have that music that's gonna get you in the zone. I would say I have two playlists, but one of my favorite songs, and I know that one person specifically asked this question so that they can get this answer, which I appreciate for you, semi-exposing me, but I listen to Rockstar by Hannah Montana before meet day, and I'm not afraid to admit that. I think the song genuinely just gets me hype every single time, and it did when I was a kid, it does now, so why fix what's not broken? Anyways, that is one of many songs, but some of my favorites are Glorilla right now. That girl gets me hype. I've always loved Drake. If you know, you know. I listen to a lot of Chris Brown, Taylor Swift. Like, my music taste is kind of all over the place, but yeah, I think that answers that question. Next question is, what's your diet like as a D1 baddie? This is a question, honestly, that I feel like is hard to answer because it changes all the time. It changes every day, and it really just depends on how I'm feeling on the day. I would say on a perfect, amazing day, I would have a full breakfast, which could look like a bagel with 2 eggs, cheese and bacon. Like, that's my favorite breakfast of all time, is some kind of combination of that with some fruit and a little coffee. And by little coffee, I mean like double espresso with milk, so like basically a latte. And then I would probably be satisfied until lunchtime, which is an area that I'm still kind of working on, to be quite honest. I haven't been kind of like the biggest 3-meal-a-day person since I had my surgery last December. That's just due to a variety of factors of like change in appetite, the way my body has changed in the last almost year. Like, there's just different reasons for that. Some kind of combination of like a little snack is probably like my lunch. Of course, lots of water. I try to stay on top of that as well as I can. And then if we're like lifting on that day, normally I try to get a little protein shake in after because we need to grow these muscles. And then later in the evening, I'd probably eat a good dinner. I honestly love cooking, and well, cooking for myself at least. Let me just rephrase that. But normally have some kind of combination of like rice, chicken, veggies, pasta, chicken and veggies. I've also been loving steak and potatoes. It really just depends on what's in my fridge and what kind of combination that I can make out of it. Then 20 minutes after I eat dinner, like clockwork, it's sweet treat o'clock. So that changes every single night, and I think, me personally, as an athlete, as an elite athlete, that it would be more detrimental to completely cut out sugars and sweet treats from my diet. I'm not a nutritionist, so take this advice with a grain of salt, but I just think it's more damaging to like your mental if you avoid sweets and make it like this awful thing in your mind. If you're craving like a little chocolate on the side after dinner, have it and then move on. If if you want a cookie or two or, you know, a little bowl of ice cream, I think you should go for that and not feel guilty about it. Just understand that you're eating really great food the rest of the day and a little sweet treat could never hurt, you know? Next question is, can you provide some advice on track and field recruitment? So I know that this is probably a popular topic for any of my subscribers or watchers who are high school athletes. Maybe you're coming from Canada, maybe you're in the US, but I actually made an entire video on my experience on how I got recruited to go D1. So definitely check out that video. I feel like I went into a lot of detail about my experience, some of the standards, the testing scores, like all those things that I had to hit or that I did in my own experience. Hopefully that can give you kind of like a big picture. Next, Powerlifting Man 1090 says, it's been a long time since I seen you from track and field. Yes, so about that. The girl has been injured for quite some time now, and I have been dealing with, of course, the Achilles post-op that you all probably are aware of. I had to get surgery, and actually in a couple of days we are going on 11 months post-op, which is insane, you guys, and there's more to come on that story very soon. But anyways, yeah, I have been kind of out and about from the sport of track and field. I know it maybe looks different online because I'm posting all of these training updates and things that I'm doing, but really I have not competed since July of 2023. I'm like dying to get back to sport, guys, but yeah, it's been a minute and I've been working hard. I've been doing everything that is in my power to be able to get back. And that kind of leads into the next question, which asks, how has this injury affected you mentally? Well, where do we begin? I mean, I feel like it's hard to give kind of like a blanket statement answer to this question, but essentially an injury just throws you into an uncomfortable environment that you never expected to have to navigate, and, you know, forces you to basically figure out how to live life without something that you've loved for so long. It's just crazy to me how many things that I've done outside of track and field in the last year, because I've actually had time to kind of explore who I was as a person outside of my sport, which I know is a scary thought for a lot of us athletes, but I'm almost grateful for my injury for forcing me to figure it out, because otherwise, like, it would have been a rude awakening to try and deal with that. But I'm not gonna lie, like, being injured sucks, you guys. Like, it sucks to see your teammates traveling and thriving without you. It hurts to see them having these great PRs and having these experiences that you wish you could be at. And for me, when I used to live in the dorms here at UCF last year, like, the view from my window could literally see out onto the track, onto the runway where my teammates would be practicing. And like, I probably have a video that I can insert, but I could literally see them practicing every day while I was laying on my bed, cast up in the air, foot in the boot, like not being able to do anything. If anyone can relate, I don't know, I've never struggled with kind of confidence or self-esteem issues until I got injured. I never felt like I compared myself to people. I was always very confident, and I'm definitely still very confident, like not in an arrogant way at all. I'm just more likely to question things now than I was before, if that makes sense. I don't know, it just like when it comes to being injured and your mental, like you really just have time to sit with yourself and really think about who you are. That's basically a long way of saying that it tests your strength. I feel like an injury really just attacks your mental head on and is like, hey, figure it out. Are you going to stop in your tracks, or are you going to keep pushing to try and see the light at the end of the tunnel, you know? Somebody said, how has your mental health changed before injury versus during recovery and now? Like I said, kind of before I had no issues, I was very confident, positive. I just feel like I would never question my worth or who I am or my abilities before I got hurt. During recovery, and even though this is ongoing, I just really felt like I had to overcome those negative thoughts where it's like, do you really want to keep going? Is this really meant for you? Is this what you want to do for the next however many years? Do you really think you can come back better than before? Those are the types of negative thoughts that come into your head. I will say I only once ever had a thought of like, what if I just quit? I only had that thought once, and I think that that's really important to mention because for some people, I'm sure it happens way more often than that. I feel like for some people, maybe an injury is the gateway to the next phase of your life. And for me, it just feels like an injury is the catalyst to what's next in this phase of my life, if that makes sense. I just have never once felt that I was gonna be done with track and field after college until that one time. But of course we snapped back and I realized like, I'm not gonna let some injury, even though it's probably the worst injury that you can get as an athlete, I'm not gonna let an injury like this take me out for good. Okay, last question, kind of on like this injury topic because I don't wanna get into too much of a dark hole here, but somebody else said, what's the best thing unrelated to participation in your sport that has happened because of injury? This makes me so excited to talk about because hands down, building my following on social media and the opportunities that that's opened up is the best thing that has happened from this injury. Seriously, you guys, I don't think I would have had the courage or the ability to start posting like an influencer if I hadn't gotten injured. I just was so wrapped up in classes and training and competing that I was just like, oh, it'd be nice to start a YouTube channel one day. Like, I wish I could post every day on Instagram like an influencer. I wish that could be me. But when I got injured, it was like, well, now what are you gonna do? Now what's your excuse? Like, you're sitting on the couch for 2 weeks and you can't walk. Like, you can make a couple of Instagram videos, you know? It took me a while to kind of get over that cringe. Once I kind of found my momentum, followers started rolling in, people started relating to some of the content I was making about my injury recovery. Honestly, the rest is history. I've attended a couple of conferences since starting to post on social media. I've hosted my own interview booth. I have created a YouTube channel with all of you guys that I'm so excited to continue making content for. Like, this is just crazy how many opportunities it's opened up. And I guess another thing that I can add is I've had valuable experience in the sports business industry. I've truly had time to just figure out what I want to do after track, which I still think is a couple of years away, but you know, now I have somewhat of a plan of what I want to do instead of just kind of entering adulthood with like no plans. Yeah, I mean, I would say like social media is probably the best thing to happen, and just the ability to kind of express myself online, find people who have similar values and goals, and just feel like I'm really stepping into a better version of myself. A lot of good things can happen from injury. I just want to say that. Like, it's the most devastating day of your life until you decide to kick its ass. Okay, moving on. Somebody says, you got a special little yeah. Girl, what you mean by that? If you mean a man in this economy, think again. This question was asked several times and it has to do with post-grad. I'm gonna keep it short because the answer really is I don't know. And it's been like that for a long time now, and every time somebody asks me, I'm just like, guys, I don't know what's going on. I'm just living life, I'm existing, and we're gonna see what happens when it happens. But basically, I'll explain the situation a little bit because it's kind of confusing. Initially, my program was supposed to end in December of this year. And although it still does, I will be kind of extending the degree program until the spring so that I can stay eligible for my 6th and final year of NCAA eligibility. That being said, I am graduating in December and will still kind of be enrolled for the spring so that I can compete when I'm healthy. I will be influencing and creating content for you guys, but I guess the short answer is that I don't know. A lot of people ask me if I want to stay in the US, and that's also an I don't know. It's just there's so many unknowns. It can really go either way. Like, there's opportunities for me to stay here, there's opportunities for me to travel somewhere else in the US, but I also wouldn't mind, you know, maybe going home for a little bit, especially with some of the sport opportunities that are popping up in the Six. So you'll just have to stay tuned. Ooh, okay, let's talk about this one. How was the New York City trip? I think I can also shamelessly hype up my other YouTube video that I did an entire vlog about the trip, but I had so much fun, you guys. It was just, if you don't know anything about what I'm talking about, go watch the video. I kind of explained it a little bit, but basically my grad program goes on an industry trip where we travel to, you know, a city of our choice, and we get to learn more about the sports business industry from professionals, alumni of our program, and we just get to have a really good time. It was fun, it was educational, like truly blessed in this program, and I don't know what I would be doing without being here. So yeah, it was incredible. Good food, good people, good energy. I absolutely love New York, and I think that if I ever moved up north and it wasn't Toronto, I would probably go to New York. So all right, guys, well, this was fun. I feel like I would love to answer any more questions that you guys have for me, so make sure you're following me on Instagram so that you don't miss another one of these opportunities to ask your girl some personal burning questions. Feel free to also comment them below so I can reference it for the next time I do something like this. But yeah, like and subscribe, do your girl a favor, and hit that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.